All right, welcome class. Happy Friday. I know you guys are upset because I'm gone again. I know. But hope you guys have had a good start to your day already. Hope you guys have an awesome Friday. I want to give a shout out to those that are watching this because they're my loyal subscribers, even though they're not even in this class. I know if you haven't liked or subscribed, click the like button. I'm just kidding. So I know some people have subscribed. You may be watching this video just for fun of it, but hey, I'm giving you a shout out. So those actually in pre-algebra, this is for you. Okay? So I want us to look in our books through chapter 5 as we're preparing for our test on Monday. We're going to prepare for this test on Monday. So today I've given you problems to do to help you. We worked on them some yesterday. Today we're going to work on more. They're not due on Monday. Okay? They are not due on Monday. These are just to give you extra practice. But for extra credit, what I'll do is I have put IXL up, so you can go on IXL, look for the stars, and those will be your extra credit. So I'll walk through the chapter, and you can also get started on your work, which is page 216, 217. We're doing 1 through 43, the odds, except for number 13. Don't do number 13. So it's 1 through 11 odds, and then 15 through 43. But what I'd like to do first is walk through chapter 5. Hopefully this is not how you guys feel right now. Hopefully you are not struggling through this chapter. But if you are, I want to answer as many questions as I can as we walk through. So our first section we talked about was 5.1, which was rational numbers. You don't need to know definitions. Don't worry about definitions. But the biggest part of 5.1 is this lowest terms. You must always reduce to lower terms. So as you saw, we had to rename, as the book calls it, or we just had to reduce fractions like 12 over 18, 24 over 90, and you reduce them to lowest terms. That was 5.1. Also in 5.1, we changed improper to mixed numbers. Like you see here, we have 19 over 7, and we changed that by dividing. The numerator goes in top, denominator goes outside. We get 2 and 5/7. Same thing with 12 over 8. We get 1 and 1/2. Notice you must always reduce. Right? That is 5.2. Actually, I'm sorry. 5.1. Last thing is going backwards. So changing mixed numbers to improper. Here we have a mixed number, 3 and 1/5. Remember, we multiply denominator times whole number, 15. Add 1, 16. We get 16 over 5. All right, so that's 5.1. Here's some practice problems if you'd like to do those. That was 5.1. Quickly going to 5.2, we had comparing rational numbers. So how did we compare these? Two different ways. You could do it equivalent fractions, which means to get the same denominator for both, and then see which numerator is bigger. But honestly, that one's kind of the harder one. Example here, you have 5, 6, and 7 eighths. How do we know which one's bigger? Find a common denominator. So they picked 24 as their common denominator. And then they found the new numerators. Oh, my mouse is going crazy. They had 20 over 24 and 21 over 24. 21 is bigger, so the alligator eats the bigger one. That's the equivalent fraction method. Now, on the test, I will not say to use equivalent or you must use cross multiplication as the other one. You get to choose. Okay, so whichever one is easier for you, you choose. Honestly, I will say cross multiplication is easier. There's only one step that you must do. Notice whenever you cross multiply, they do 7 times 5 goes on the left side. So always go bottom to top. You go bottom to top. So you do 7 times 5 over here, you get 35. 8 times 4 over here, you get 32. So 35 is bigger than 32. So 5/8 is bigger than 4/7. Look here. Same thing. You cross multiply. Whenever you cross multiply, 40 times 13 goes on the left side, 520. 16 times 33 goes on the right side, 528. Those are not equal. It's asking, are they equal? For the test, you may see some like, are they equal? If this number is not the same, they're not equal. Right? So that's 5.2. That's really all you need to know for 5.2. 5.2 is pretty quick. So let's go on to 5.3, the decimal equivalence. So you have a fraction, it says to make it a decimal. All you do is divide, very similar to improper fraction, although this time you have a proper fraction. So you still put the numerator inside, denominator outside, you divide and extra zeros, and you will get a decimal answer. Now, just be very careful that you should always go until it stops, like here, 0.75, or it repeats, like 0.4166666666 forever and ever. Don't forget to put your line over whatever number or numbers are repeating. All right, so you see another example of that in example number 3. Now, you do not need to know the changing decimals to fractions. Changing repeating decimals. Now, example number 4, yes, you need to know. You need to know how to change this decimal, 0.175, to a fraction. All you do is count how many decimal places you have, 3, so that's how many zeros you have at the bottom, so 1,000. Put your number on top, 175, reduce it down to 7/40. That's all you need to know for decimals to fractions. You do not need to know example 5 or 6. You do not need to know that. So in here, skill check 2, you need to know 1. Number 2, you do not need to know 3 and 4. Okay? That's 5.3. Going quickly. Easy stuff. You guys know how to do this. Ratios and rates. So you need to know that a ratio is a comparison. You don't need to know definitions, but understand what it is. It's a fraction, so you must always have two numbers, even if the denominator is 1. In fact, specifically when the denominator is 1, you have a rate. And specifically, whenever you're talking about units, you're talking about a unit rate. So you need to know both of those. Here, it gives you like a story problem. You're going to compare them, but always reduce. Okay? Unit rate, again, all you do is divide. You divide 210 by 4, like they do here, and always remember your units. Always remember your units. And then in the last section, 5.5, that's the last part of the test. This is our last section, is proportions. And how do we solve proportions? Right here. The product of the extremes and the product of the means. What does that mean? Cross multiply. That's all it is saying to do. For example, let's look at example number 2. It says, how do we find n? Well, we multiply. N times 6 is 6n. 15 times 8 is 120. So 6n is equal to 120. How do we get n all by itself? We divide both sides by 6. 120 divided by 6 is 20. Your answer is 20. There's no units that you need. Same thing here. You cross multiply. X times 108 is 108x. Whoa. You have 108x. Then 32 times 27 is 864. You have to divide both sides by the 108 to get x all by itself, and you get 8. Okay? Now, with these ratios, sometimes be careful of your units. If you ever have units, you must always put the units. Sometimes you may have to write the ratio as well. Here, they make you write the ratio. So look at the ratio. It's adults to students. So that means the 2 is adults, the 7 is students. So we have adults to students. So that means on our other one, we need adults to students. So which are we told? We're told adults. So adults was on top. That's why 8 goes on top. Cross multiply. 2 times n is 2n. 7 times 8 is 56. Divide both sides by 2. We get 28 what? 28 students, 28 adults, 28 students. Okay? And that is the end of the chapter. We're going to skip 5.6. So we'll go all the way to page 216. Page 216, have the answers, don't look. But I would like you to do everything except for number 13. Please do not do number 13. You're going to do 1 through 43. You're going to stop at the story problem 43. Okay, I'm going to scroll up before you write down the answers. So you're doing page 216, 217, 1 through 43, the odds, except for number 13. Okay? If you have any specific questions, email me. I'll do my best to answer them. But I hope that you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you guys on Monday for our test. Have an awesome weekend.